You guys have become the poster boys for team play, playing together in a culture where everybody is individualistic. How did that come about?
I think, we just five guys, man, that, really don't have no ego, know what it's all about, know how it feels to win, and nobody cares, who gets the glory on this team.
If the quote defense wins championships was a team, for me it would have to be the 03-04 Detroit Pistons. They played hard defense every night, they played with a lot of energy and excitement, and they did not care about accolades or flashiness. The team had one common goal, and that was to win it all, win the title. This is one of the true underdogs to win the championship, and it makes me wonder, will there ever be a team like this ever again? In the preseason odds, there were 6 teams ahead of them, with Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers as the clear favorites. There were also the Spurs with Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan, the Kings with their stacked roster of Bibby, Stojakovic, Doug Christie, and Chris Webber. The Mavs also had Dirk Nowitzki there, the Nets with Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, and Kerry Kittles, and at last, it was the Timberwolves with Kevin Garnett. And way at the bottom, you can see the Los Angeles Clippers, who still haven't won a single NBA championship even 15 years after Detroit won their title.
Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my fan.
The Pistons on offense, they were ranked 15th on offensive rating, and they only had 4 players average double digits in points, and not even one player surpassing the 20 points per game mark. The Detroit Pistons, they finished as the 3 seed, and once they got Rasheed Wallace halfway through that season, they started to click and become one of the great defensive teams in the league. The great thing about this Detroit team is that they only had one All-Star in their entire lineup. They had Ben Wallace locking down the paint, locking in their only All-Star selection. They had Rasheed Wallace, who they acquired afterwards, who proved to be a massive pickup for them. And they also had Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups. Now this must prove one thing, is that if you have a bunch of guys willing to mesh well together, getting rid of their egos, and forming as one cohesive unit, you can dominate the entire league. And with that, Detroit became second in defensive rating. But how good were they? Once, they kept the Lakers under 70 points in the NBA Finals. Speaking of keeping teams under 70, during the regular season, the Pistons did it 5 times in a row. Not only that, they were second in points allowed per 100 possessions with 94, second in effective field goal percentage, and 4th in turnover percentage. And what about the playoffs? In round 1 versus Milwaukee, the lowest the Bucks scored was 77. In round 2 versus the Nets, the lowest they scored was 56 points, also forcing 6 8-second violations in one of the games. In the Eastern Conference Finals, featuring Tayshaun Prince absolutely decking Reggie Miller's layup in the clutch, they had the Pacers scoring a game-reaching 65 points in that series twice. And at last, in the NBA Finals, versus Kobe and Shaq, the lowest the Lakers scored was 67. Looking at how the league has shifted more towards super teams being formed now, we rarely see that teams just need hard-nosed defense to win games. In recent times, it seems that fit and personnel has been thrown out the window in some cases, and teams would rather just get the best player possible instead of trying to get a guy that will benefit the team the most. If so, are there any similar teams these past 2 years? Starting last season, the Miami Heat, after acquiring Jimmy Butler, were underdogs coming into the season, as they ranked 14th in preseason odds. Now fast forward to the playoffs, and they are the 4 seed. They sweep the Brooklyn Nets, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, they beat the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they go all the way to the finals, losing to the Lakers in 6. What that Heat team gave us is a little bit of fresh air. That you can be an underdog team reaching the NBA Finals playing excellent defense like that Detroit team back in the day. Speaking of another underdog team, this year we have the Indiana Pacers. In the preseason odds, they were ranked 18th. However, they do have similar qualities to the Pistons team winning the championship. They are in the 6th percentile in points per 100 possessions conceded, and they are 5th in turnover percentage, with having their main man Domantas Sabonis leading the way. With the ultimate David and Goliath metaphor, what does a team full of underdogs, playing elite defense with a winning at all costs mentality give you? For the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons, it gave them this.
3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, it's over. It has happened. It's happened, Detroit. You believed in this team, and they have delivered a third NBA World Championship to the Motor City. An incredible story written by this Piston team this year.